Hey, before we get started, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification button. Hey, welcome back, Transformers fans. Today we've got this colossal thing to look at. It's one of the big guys from G1, and I'm very excited to open it and get my hands on it. Well, let me show you. Yeah, that's how big it is. I mean, my camera can't even capture the size of it at this distance from it. So here you have it, the product box in front of my 55-inch television. You can't see the bottom of the TV, so the box would fit within the size of the TV, but with it on the table in front of the TV, it is really tall. Let's go ahead and take a look at this as best we can. Let's do a spin of the box first. All right, we got a cool drawing on the side, very cool illustration. I like it, they've done their own symbol for Omega Supreme, or excuse me, Ultima Guard. And if I haven't mentioned it yet, this is from WeiJiang. And I just learned last week from Tidarium Hanger's channel that apparently WeiJiang has been raided and shut down. So if you want a WeiJiang Transformer, now is probably the best time. And give you a little closer look of that illustration. Look at that. Really nicely rendered. And there you go. Shape-shifting toy with electronic lights and sounds. So this is a pretty cool back panel to this box. It's got a strong graphic at the top. I like how it's got some kind of, I guess, background for the character there at the top. And he's got his bio card on the right, reminiscent of the G1 bio cards. And then on the left side, he actually speaks. Wow, he actually says like 4 different things. That's cool. And then he's got some logo and photograph and other stuff at the bottom there. So pretty nice. You've got his name, the company name, and the big old logo there. That's pretty cool. On the top. And what's on the bottom? Upside down, huh? There we go. What the set includes, and some more product photography. It's pretty cool. Wow, brand new. So cool. All right. We got some cool stuff right off the bat. You can see the dock right here. That's the guy who fixed Omega Supreme in The Secret of Omega Supreme in the G1 cartoon. We've got Omega's claw here. We've got his tank slash head. Looks like, I guess, some tracks. We've got a blast effect over here for the rocket. And we've got the top of his rocket right here. So very iconic parts of Omega Supreme right off the bat. Let me spin this around for you to check it out a little bit better. We have a nice product brochure here, good color. We've got something about how to put the batteries in, it looks like. Batteries for the tank. And we've got a nice collector's card here. And it's a nice plastic card, rather thick. It's got his bio on the back here. Pretty basic, but there we go, you can see it's 2018, a couple years old right now. And it's a cool addition to your Masterpiece card collection if you're keeping those. Quick look at the brochure. Oh, cool. Some good color print in here. Nice quality paper. They didn't cheap out on this. And then a couple of cool illustrations. And then you got your schematic render on the back with the name and the logo. Very cool. Now to give you that spin, to give you a little better look at these things. Okay, so we've got a part here that slipped out during shipment apparently, but otherwise has been held in tightly by this lid. Pretty nice package job here. Let's see what's in the layer below. This looks awesome. I mean, how can you go wrong with this? And I'm moving that box, and I know there's some drag on the tabletop here, but it feels heavy. All right, let's start off with the small pieces over here. Let's see the dock. Nice formed packaging for the whole top layer there, very cool. All right, right off the bat, I really like the way this guy looks. He looks a lot like the cartoon. Not sure about his articulation, but let's check that out. Okay, he can rock his head side to side. Looks like he's on a ball joint. So he's got some decent articulation. At least he can go in a spherical way and not just up, down. Barely, not much down, but enough. Good up. And yeah, got a little blemish here. Not sure what that is. Oh, it's coming off though. He feels pretty tight. So he's got some good tight joints. You can hear that kind of plastic crack there as it was moving for after a long time of being in a package. I really like the fact that they actually used this translucent red lifesaver piece of plastic here. That gives him some cool depth as an action figure. Oh, the back's a little messy, a lot of screw holes, but you know, you're not gonna be looking at him from the back, right? So what the heck? Oh, he's got hip articulation. Wow. And he's got knee articulation. He's got some ankle articulation on a ball joint. That's pretty cool. Man, he can be in some action poses that he never was in the cartoon. No ab crunch, but he does have a swivel. So there you go. The good doctor. All right, there's this piece here. Looks like it's one of, two of the same. We'll find out what these are for. We've got some of the larger pieces. Looks like we've got some track forming here. And then these, I guess, pop out and swivel around to make more track. So we'll see that once it's transformed. But I got very excited when I saw that it actually had, that their version of Omega Supreme actually had all these very nicely painted, rather nicely, I guess, tampographed, if that's what the term is. Not sure if that's the right term, but I guess it's actually printed. It's not even a sticker. So that is very cool. That is a level of precision that I really appreciate when I'm buying a figure that can cost, you know, a little bit of money. You know, just really cool, nicely done graphics. I had seen a picture of this guy that showed this without any of those really cool detailed graphics, as if they were trying to go for the cartoon aesthetic by dumbing down the amount of detail, which is more of the cartoon aesthetic, to be honest, right? If you're going to be honest, it's more dumbed down because the cartoon aesthetic was supposed to be simple for animation. So when I got a look at this guy and saw that he had those detailed stickers on it, put a smile on my face. Another for the other side of the base. Got this weird long thing here. Oh, I think maybe this is the tower launch arm to hold the rocket upright. Getting down to some of the meat here. We've got the tank. Oh, that thing looks really cool. Oh my gosh, so awesome. Cannon swivels up and down. Cannon mount. Oh, that's kind of a bummer. I guess because it's his head too, they couldn't make it just swivel, so it doesn't have a central swivel point like a regular tank would. But you know, his face is on the other side, so if it just spun in place, it might not work too well when he's in bot mode. We'll see how this all works out. So quick look at the head. Wow, that sculpting is awesome. And the quality of this paint in here is just super fine and detailed. It's not messy. Gosh, this is really cool. All right, even has rubber treads. Rubber treads on the wheels. Look at that. So cool. We'll see what else it can do later. All right, how about his claw? Oh my gosh, look at the quality of this stuff. And the paint is just super nice, very finely crafted. Even have some metal paint right here, like was that even necessary? But I love it. All right. Who doesn't like seeing that aiming down at some Decepticon or something? Just that point of view, like you're gonna get blasted. Very cool. All right. How about the top of the rocket? It looks like it has the same amount of attention to detail as it should. You know, some of the plastic actually I was noticing on the rocket, the other rocket half, looks like it's slightly worn, you know, a little scuffed. Not like it's just 100% smooth. So I'm not sure what's up with that, but overall, like I don't care. It's gonna look awesome all together. Look at the gleam on that paint. Maybe they could have gone a little extra and done a little metal paint up here too, but that looks really cool. And it looks like we've got some blast effects as well. Nice translucent red. I imagine that's going to look pretty cool if there's a light behind it. And I do believe that goes into the end of his blaster arm. Let's see, is there... Oh, there happens to be like a fitting line right here at the top. So it doesn't go in here because that doesn't have the groove there. Interesting. And I don't see a fitting groove here either, even though I think I see a light bulb way down in there, if you can make that out. So maybe it's supposed to go here? Oh, doesn't seem like it. Oh, we'll figure it out. And one last blast effect. They package these very snugly. Look at the excess baggage is actually smashed inside the little fitting hole. Right there. So they are very fastidious. So far, I am very impressed with WeiJiang. This is my first WeiJiang product, and man, this wouldn't necessarily be my last, as long as they got something that I want. All right, so this looks like it's a cannon blast, and let's try that out. Huh. I am not batting 1,000 here. Okay, I'm gonna have to wait for directions because I don't want to screw something up by force fitting it. All right, you've probably been itching for this. This thing has some heft. I mean, that's a good 5 to 10 pounds itself. So looks like the launch pad base. And we've got two sections of track here that are amazingly all connected and folded together. Very cool. Look at that. That is a nice big track. Oh my gosh, look at this detail on the back of the track. Look at that. Yellow, gold and metal accents here. Really nicely done. The precision on this paint is just blowing my mind. I mean, for a third-party toy? All right, excuse me if I have to fumble with this in order to get it out of the styrofoam. If you don't like squeaking noises, you may want to plug your ears until you see that the styrofoam has been taken off the table, just FYI. That guy is ginormous. Look at this. Oh my gosh. It's my hand. I'm a 6 foot tall guy, so my hand is roughly the size of his whole thorax. And he's got some solidness to him. You know, it's just got all sorts of amazing details here. Look at the red plastic there, the gray accents, the gray paint here on the vents, and it's even a metallic paint. Look at that shine. That's really cool. Here we go. High-powered tank. I don't know why that had to be done, but really nicely done. Now, one thing on the shins that I don't like about the Fans Toys version, oh wow, metallic paint in the grooves here. That's very cool. The Fans Toys version, to me, just looks like an electrical outlet plug. Overall, I just feel that the Fans Toys one is just a bit too chunky for my tastes. And I understand that the G1 animation model was chunky itself, but I don't mind a little interpretation to make things look more mature, more modern, more slick. So the directions seem to be more about actually how to take him apart, but not really a step-by-step manual on how to put him together. So let's see if we can get the head in by feel. So let's see about getting this bad boy set up right. Doesn't seem too hard. Manual said something about these tabs being in a particular position, but I don't see how you change them really. So let's see if he'll fit. All right, before we get to that, actually, let's go ahead and take a look at the rocket itself. So here's our one blast effect, looking very cool and rugged and fiery. And here's our other blast effect, and it's pointy. And guess what? They're supposed to go together. So that little notch I was looking for is actually here in this plastic. And so that little notch line at the top there goes into here and tells you which direction this is supposed to be connected in. I'm having a hard time seeing it here, but here we go. There we go. To make the complete blast effect. All right, can I first say that these have some weight to them? They're both a little on the heavy side. And, oh, wait. Ooh, cool, I think I just found a button. Yeah, that one doesn't work. Oh, I just found a button. Cool. I wonder if this does the same thing here. Ooh. It has it has an on and off position. Nice. Okay, so we just found a couple of activations for lights or sounds, I guess. And these two parts just join together with the opposing peg and hole systems. And wow, it's a snug fit. All right, I'm not digging how it doesn't actually seem to want to sit flush. It's a very tight fit, and I don't want to force it too much more. Maybe over time it'll seat better, but as you can see, it's not really joining flush. But here you go. You've got the rocket, and then we're gonna put the blast effect in. All right, and this makes a little more sense here. This little peg goes right into this. Just making sure it's gonna stay as flush as it can. And there you go. Now we've got a rocket. Very cool. And to display it, we need this and this platform. And then the rocket can be tilted, apparently, and it can be flying. I think it's got a second joint here, it looks like. No? Huh. The ratchet doesn't seem to be great, but there you go, it's holding it for now. And It feels like it's a little soft and it's back heavy here, so it does want to kind of pull down. Maybe this screw here can be tightened up a little bit. There's another screw here, which I'm not sure why. Maybe those can be adjusted. But there you go. Now you can have it on display in rocket form. And let me just move the body in the back so you can get an appreciation for this rocket. And there you go. Check that out. Nice option to have for your display. So let's see about getting this bad boy set up right. Okay, so that opens. So we'll slide this in and then click it into place. Okay, just gotta snug it back in there. All right, so his head swivel's still a problem. I don't like the fact that it's not centered. It's like driving a rear-wheel drive car. Oh well. Let's see him in his robot mode. And to quote a friend of mine, boom, the Doc and Omega Supreme. One thing I just can't stress enough of is there is so much detail in this guy. The printing on it is super sharp. Look at these paint accents. I mean, right here on the inside of his elbow, did that really need to be done? Probably not. And if you're going with the cartoon aesthetic, you're probably not going to get that level of detail. Look at the detail on his face. Wow, that sculpting is awesome. And the quality of this paint in here is just, gosh, this is really cool. That is one bummer though, that shield doesn't actually close all the way under the edge of his mask, but that's a small detail. And check this out, this is pretty cool. I was wanting to open this up and find out what's in here. Yeah, cannons. So that's very cool. You can see all that nice, sharp, molded detail here in the wing, as well as the metallic and the gold paint apps. So there's a little bit of wear here, and this is right out of the package. It's the same on the other wing, so that might be just a rub point, and that might worsen over time. And here on his chest, it's covered in plastic, so maybe they were intending something to be inserted in there. But look at that, the bottom vent is also just nicely detailed with that gray metallic paint. Very cool. And you know, it follows key elements of the animation model, as you can see here, the circle there on the shoulder. And then he's got that random yellow square in the middle of his thorax. This claw is amazing, right? And look at how this claw opens too. It's got some great articulation. All right, everybody wants to see that, right? Yeah, well, how about, you know, this, and this, and that. I mean, isn't that awesome? That's some good articulation. So he can really hold something there, you know, in a pincer kind of form. But you could also have him, whoa. All right, it bends out too. Not sure what exactly that's good for, but it can do that. And do you hear the ratchets on that too? It's got a lot of heft in the way it snaps. So coming back to a closed claw position, check this out though. It's got these rotating ratchets. Isn't that cool? It just feels really smooth, really good, really satisfying to rotate around. I mean, you can just see all this detail here. I mean, how many bots have you seen that just leave gaps or plain surfaces? But they decided to go that extra. Oh my gosh, there's actually two tones in there. It's gold and metallic gray. That is amazing. I'm wondering if Hasbro and Takara Tomy would even do better than this. And Hasbro and Takara Tomy, if you're listening, please take that as a respectful challenge. Okay, so now to get this guy lit up and to hear his sounds, you're gonna need to install some batteries. Luckily, my purchase of Ultima Guard came with 4 watch type batteries that are the correct type for some of his parts. The batteries not included were 6 AAA batteries, and those AAA batteries go into one of his arms, into his back, and into the tank, so the tank will roll around on the track. The watch type batteries go in the other arm for a light up effect, and in his head for a light up effect. Word to the wise, the battery placement for his head was kind of like doing surgery. these are the main tools that I used. A #1 screwdriver in a jeweler's set, that's the Phillips head, and a jeweler's 3mm straight slot screwdriver as well. And the magic instrument is some tweezers. Yeah, I basically piled the 2 watch batteries on top of each other and grabbed them with the tweezers and was able to manipulate them in there that way using a finger or another instrument to shove them in. Word of caution, the wires in there are small, and just be careful when you're doing that. Mine are fine, but you know, I can imagine that a wire might snap fairly easily. So let's check out his face and body light up effects. So to light up his eyes, you've got to open up his canopy here, his mask. You've got to spin his head. It rotates 180 degrees. And in the back here, first I want to show you that it kind of looks like a face already. So if you're wanting a drone kind of look, then you could just turn his face around and there you go. He's kind of a drone kind of look. The instructions say that an alternate face may have been included. It wasn't included with mine, so I don't have the actual drone face, I guess it was. And I do have the Ultima Guard blue version on order, so that should be coming, and I will review that as well. If you want to check that out, that'll be coming out, well, I'm not sure when. But if you're interested in that, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll see what I can do to prioritize that. So you just hit the little light switch button here. Then you can see the blue lights up. Now you can close this, and then he still looks kind of like a drone. It still looks like he has eyes because the light's coming out through those 2 slots, which I don't know if that was intentional, but it's very cool. And then you just spin the head back around. So he's facing front, and there you go. He's got his lit up eyes. Not extremely bright, especially under these lights, but it is there. And the manual says something like bash him on the head in order to make him speak and light up his chest. So we bash him on the head, and really what it's doing is activating some buttons here at the bottom of the tank inside the chest, and you press down really hard. Let's go ahead and get him into a pose and check him out lit up in that pose. I was trying to recreate the image shown in this photo, and I think I did a pretty good job, so that's very cool. So cool. All right, so he's got phrases and he's got lights. While we're at it, we might as well get the MP scale comparison out of the way. Let's bring in our MP scale standards, MP10 Optimus Prime and MP21 Bumblebee. So if you go by the scale chart, these guys are looking pretty close. Now, if you go by Omega Supreme's first appearance in the G1 episode, The Secret of Omega Supreme, in which he and his relationship with the Constructicons are introduced.
So, the Constructicons betrayed you, Omega Supreme. They destroyed Crystal City.
The worst was yet to come.
You can see throughout the episode that the scale between him and Optimus is pretty inconsistent. All in all, I'd say that Ultima Guard needs to be a bit bigger to be true Masterpiece scale, but he's close enough for my collection. I'm already going to have trouble with where to put him. Now, Doc isn't present on the scale chart, but comes from this same episode.
Omega Supreme, you're as fit as any Guardian robot I ever examined. Now, clear on out of here. Your city needs you.
I'll say, what with all the trouble the Decepticons have been making. Thanks, Doc.
In the limited time he's seen on screen, there are 2 shots which give him a pretty solid scale to Omega. This means he'd need to be at least as tall as MP10, if not a little taller. So while the toy's looks are cool, its scale isn't Masterpiece accurate. So all in all, Omega Supreme looks like he's a little bit smaller than he should be. And the dock as well looks like he's definitely smaller than he should be. And just because he's out and available, and we can, how about next to Generation Toys Duron Drill, their version of the G2 Devastator. As you also can see in the secret of Omega Supreme, Devastator should be about the same height as Omega. It's a little laughable here, the size difference between Omega Supreme and Devastator as represented by these 2 makes. Looks like Devastator realizes he's outmatched here. I also have bought the oversized version of this from Jinbao, and we'll see how that looks compared to Omega Supreme. But that'll have to be for another video. All right, let's talk about the articulation of this guy. So as you can see, he's very posable. One thing right off the bat that I find kind of weird is that his head swivels in front of his face, so his head travels in this semicircle. It looks okay for posing, but it's kind of weird. I wish the head could have been built on a slide or something, so at least it could pivot in the center, but it's fine. That's a minor thing. The ratchets are really strong to the point where it actually kind of hurts your hands if you're trying to get things into an aggressive pose like I did here. I was trying to recreate the image shown in this photo, and I think I did a pretty good job. But it took a long time to get there, and it was very painstaking, and it actually kind of hurt the hands. This is a chunky guy. He's got good resistance on the joints. That being said, he also has a little bit of play in the joints too, so things like this, you know, it doesn't ratchet completely in place no matter where you put it. It just has its spots, but then it does hold at those spots. Also, the plastic is a little bit soft. So I rounded some corners on the back side of the arm here at the torso because I was twisting the shoulder in a position where it wasn't supposed to rotate like that with that kind of flexion. So you got to be careful of the plastic. Thankfully that's in a spot that's not noticeable, and overall I think this plastic build is good. The plastic might be a little soft. He's got double jointed elbows, which is awesome. So he can flex below the elbow and above the elbow. So below the elbow, there, so you can really bend it in for more of a 90-degree kind of look. So then if we straighten this out, and that's a little bit of a trick because this will get in the way of that. So let's bend it here at the bicep. And now we can bend it a little bit more. So you can get a 90-degree bend. Has great shoulder rotation here, goes up above 90 degrees. Also, as you might have been able to see, he bobbed forward a little bit. So he can be a little top heavy when you're trying to get him into a dynamic pose like this, but you can find a balance point. And that's thanks to double ratcheted knees, which is like the elbow here. So if I straighten him up a little bit, and as you can hear, that's his hip joint. So his hip joint ratchets forward and back, and he can go quite far back. And thanks to these hip skirts, he can go a decent amount forward, not 90 degrees, but decent. And he's got a swivel too out. So there's quite a bit articulation, as you can see here. No ab crunch, but he does have good swivel. Wow. Okay, he's part owl, 360 degrees. And what else have we got going on here? Oh yeah, the feet. They do have some nice articulation out and in. So that allows for posability, except that the track here on his calf does get in the way, and you will sit on it on a surface. So it's not like the foot actually extends beyond this if you articulate this foot all the way in. So some limits. All right, we've seen that he can be posed very well. Now let's give him a 360-degree spin so you can see him in all of his glory. I'll give you a second here to appreciate it in its full glory. So as you can see, he looks very good. Very little kibble actually showing. There's that lower part of his back that just shows a bit of a grid. But overall, I think it looks really clean. I can't believe that this figure is done this well. It's just amazing. So let's check it out in alt mode. All right, here it is. This is a glorious alt mode. You know, some of the kibble is showing, and it would be nice if there had been some interior dressing of that, like the inside of the launch bay. But on the whole, what else could you ask for? This thing is awesome. And I literally mean awesome. It is about 53 inches in length, about 23.5 inches wide, and when the rocket is on the platform, that's about 20 inches tall. So in alt mode alone, this thing is massive. It's actually better to have him in bot mode if you want to keep space in your place. So this alt mode is not staying in my house, that's for sure. One note on transforming this, I will link to a transform video here. I followed most of the instructions until it seemed like I didn't like part of the transformation. I think you got part of the transformation wrong on which side of the legs are needing to be turned up. Long story short, your manual shows, and I have it transformed that way here, where that gold gearing that you saw on the inside of his thighs earlier in the video, that is facing upward. That will allow the ramp on the backside to be down as a ramp instead of up at an angle and not flush with the whole base mode. So just, you know, to the nines. As you can see here, our MP scale test holds true for the base mode as well. Spike is a little too big, probably by, I don't know, a third for this scale. So he almost fits, but not quite. And this part here, like I said, could be a ramp. If you push it up, then it stands at this awkward angle because it doesn't actually tuck underneath this overhang here. I really think that's a miss on their part. I think they could have added one more hinge in that chest plate and actually had it be able to tuck away underneath this overhang. But if you don't mind having a little bit of an imagination, you can make it look like a ramp that's disappearing in underneath the tracks as if maybe there's a base underneath. So definitely playable and very cool. And here's Daniel in his exosuit doing some maintenance work at the base, keeping Omega Supreme operating. One last function that is cool to show, two functions that's cool to show. If you hit a button on the rocket, you're going to get a launch sequence of lights and sound. And here's that. You probably won't be able to see the red light, but it's there underneath the claw. And of course, how could this be complete if Omega Supreme didn't patrol his track? And he's probably having some trouble on the track because I'm on carpet and not on a hard surface. All right, remember how wimpy this thing was? Well, I can't necessarily speak to that ratchet that's not holding the weight, but yeah, those two pieces go onto the base like this to give support to the main post so that your rocket has side-to-side stability. And one note, I did try to tighten that screw there at the top. I also tightened a screw below it, so not sure exactly what you can do about that. It might just be a soft ratchet. All right, well, that's it. Thanks for joining me for this awesome episode. I mean, I think it's awesome. Keep coming back. Thanks for watching. And if you have any comments or questions about WeiJiang's Ultima Guard, their version of Omega Supreme, let me know in the comments below. And thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe and hit that notification button so you get notified when new videos drop. All right, until next time, happy collecting, everybody.